What's going on out there, American truckers? Hope all of y'all are doing great, staying safe, staying out of trouble, and staying warm. It is starting to cool off a little bit across the country. Anyway, I was having a conversation, with a former student of mine from way back in the day. But he went on and he became a first he left the company we were at. He went to work for a couple other companies, and then he bought a truck, and then he did the owner operator thing for a while. I kind of got in there in another truck, and me and him did that at the same company for a while. I interviewed him in one of my other videos a little further back. I don't remember the video number, but I think the title of it is Driver Interviews a Broker. Kids don't smoke. That's what happens when you get old. But me and him having a conversation, and as some of y'all know, freight rates right now are through the roof. And I know some of y'all are going to disagree with what I'm about to say, but the reason they're through the roof is because there's a driver shortage. You have more loads than you have trucks. Supply and demand. That's how it works. That's why I always giggle a little bit when I see somebody say, "Oh, driver shortage is fake." You, sir, don't know how to read a load board. But anyway, we're not going to get into that conversation. That's a conversation for another day. But something he mentioned that I didn't realize was happening that often, that I felt worthy of putting out there, as kind of a heads up, maybe to some of these other drivers, is drivers undercutting other drivers. I was like, wow. Why? There's so much freight out there. Why would drivers be undercutting other drivers? You would think that's something that would happen when there's not that much freight, which it does. If you get into an area where there's more trucks than loads, drivers undercut drivers even more in those areas. Areas like South Carolina, North Carolina, Maine, Montana, Colorado. Trucks tend to tongue twister. Trucks tend to outnumber loads in those areas, and that drops the freight rates down a little bit. And you'll get trucks trying to undercut each other so they can get up out of that area and back to better freight. So he said, he posts his loads on the board. He negotiates with the customer to get the best rate he can get. He posts the load on the board, and then he waits for drivers to call in on that load. Whatever load boards he uses. I think he uses 3 or 4 of them. He'll post it on there. And he said what's happening more and more often is a driver will call in, he'll have the load, they'll negotiate, they'll come to a price, he'll give that load to that driver, and before he can get it off the load board, someone else has already called in, and then he'll tell him, "Well, I already gave that load away, I don't have it anymore, I'm taking it off the boards now." And that other driver, if it's going to an area that he or she wants to go to, where there's better paying freight, or if it's keeping them in an area where there's better paying freight, or if it's taking them home, or for whatever reason they want that load, it's light, whatever, they'll right off the rip say, "Man, I'll take it for $100 less than that other driver." That's dirty, man. And I wouldn't think it happened that much, but he said it happens almost daily. He said just like truckers sometimes will take a load, but they keep watching the board, and then when they find a better load, they'll cancel that other load and take that better load. He said it's no different, on both sides of the coin, the brokerage side or that side. But I'm gonna keep an eye on that, drivers. That broker calls you and tells you that load canceled. I don't mean that load canceled. Another driver probably got it for $100 less. Broker calls and tells you whatever excuse he gives you. Nah, it probably got put on somebody else for less money, and might want to be fast with getting them loads. I asked him, is there any common theme to this happening. And he said it's a lot of times it's the California carriers. He said most of the time when someone calls in and tries to undercut another driver, normally it's a California carrier. It's going to be one of the Indians or Muslims or one of them California companies. Said for some reason, man, they want to try to haul it all. And he said, man, them guys, they're dirty. And of course, they get tax exemptions and all kinds of things, so they can haul that load for less money and still make more than an American trucker, which I don't think is fair, but that's what's going on in that situation. And we're not going to get into that because that's politics. And most of y'all out there already know that. It's hard to compete with the foreign carriers. I know some people worry about automated trucks, and that may be something to come in the future. But I really think the immediate threat to an American trucker is actually foreign entities coming in. That's why I encourage Americans to go to truck driving school. You know, if you ever want to drive a truck, go to truck driving school. Come on out here, man. You know, I'd rather see my own out here making a living and supporting their families, you know. Nothing against foreigners, because we all were foreigners at one time, unless you're Native American. But they stick together. You know, the Russians, they stick together. The Muslims stick together, and there's nothing wrong with that. Americans should stick together too. Just the way I see it. But anyway, that's that on that. If you're one of those drivers that calls in undercutting other drivers, man, that's dirty. That's all I'm going to say to that. That's dirty. That's dirty business. I'm over here in Georgia, headed over to South Carolina. I stopped to get me something to eat, clean out my trailer. Luckily, I just happened to stop where my fuel stop is because I didn't have that information yet. So I got that, so I got lucky on that. Don't have to call in for another fuel stop. And gonna be headed up to Mechanicsburg, PA, delivering up there tomorrow. Yeah, I should be headed home the end of this week. I got some pins ordered. You see me out here, man, after this week. They should be at the house by the time I get home. You see me out there on the road, man, holler at me, I'll give you a pin. There's some pretty nice pins, actually. And I pay for that all out of my pocket. But they're coming in an assortment of colors, and there are some really nice pins. Something else I'm talking about right quick, an update to James Armstrong, the driver that was arrested in West Virginia for shooting the guy that was trying to pull him out of his truck. He did make bail on October the 31st, I believe was the date on the website that I saw. He's still awaiting trial. They do want to take it to trial. Hopefully this guy gets cleared, because I really feel like he was in the right. So we'll see how it goes. Y'all keep them hands together, and whoever you pray to him, man, that everything works out for that 66-year-old man and his family there. Y'all know the routine, man. I always try to end these on a positive note. Y'all stay safe, be kind to one another. Remember, we are all family. You see me out there on the road, give me a wave, give me a shout. You know, say what's up to Old Snapper. Y'all take care and keep trucking.